What if the government shutdown wasn't inevitable, but a choice? Karoline Leavitt just called out Senate Democrats, putting the blame on them. But is she right? Or is there more to the story? Stay with me. You need to hear this. Dear listeners, please subscribe my channel to hit 1,000 figure and more updates. The clock was ticking. The possibility of a government shutdown loomed over millions of Americans, threatening jobs, essential services, and economic stability. Families across the country were watching the news, wondering, will my paycheck be delayed? Will my small business suffer? At the center of the storm stood Karoline Leavitt, stepping up to the podium, eyes sharp, voice steady. The press room was tense. Reporters leaned in, ready for a statement that could shift the blame, clarify the stakes, or ignite a political firestorm. She didn't waste time. Let's be clear, this shutdown is in the hands of Senate Democrats. They have the power to pass keys, to bati e stop it. And yet, they refuse to act. Gasps rippled through the room. The statement wasn't just bold, it was a direct challenge. The weight of responsibility had just been placed squarely on one side. But why was this happening? And what would it mean for the American people? The room buzzed with murmurs as reporters scribbled notes, cameras zooming in to capture every expression on Karoline Leavitt's face. She didn't flinch. She'd come prepared, and she wasn't about to back down. The American people deserve better, she continued, her voice firm. House Republicans have done their job. We passed a responsible funding bill. But Senate Democrats are politics with your livelihoods. A reporter quickly jumped in. Are you saying Democrats are deliberately pushing for a shutdown? Leavitt's response was swift. Look at the facts. They've had every opportunity to come to the table. Instead, they stall, delay, and refuse to negotiate. Who does that hurt? Not the politicians in Washington, but working Americans. Families who rely on government paychecks, small businesses waiting for federal approvals, military personnel protecting this nation. The tension in the room thickened. This wasn't just about policies, it was about real lives being affected. The stakes had been set. But would Senate Democrats respond, or would the shutdown become inevitable? Outside the walls of Washington, the consequences of a shutdown were already being felt. Airports braced for delays as TSA workers prepared to miss paychecks. National parks faced closures. Families of military personnel worried about their next pay cycle. Karoline Leavitt made sure to drive the point home. This isn't just about numbers on a budget sheet. This is about the single mother who depends on her government job to feed her kids, the veteran waiting for essential benefits, the small-town business owner who needs government permits to keep running. These are the people Senate Democrats are ignoring, a reporter interrupted. But isn't this also a failure of House Republicans? Couldn't they have done more to prevent this? Leavitt didn't hesitate. House Republicans passed a funding bill. We did our job. The Senate refuses to act. That's the reality. And while Democrats stall, American families suffer. They need to answer for that. The argument was clear. Responsibility wasn't just political, it was personal. But would the pressure be enough to force action? The pressure was mounting. News headlines flashed warnings of an impending shutdown. Public frustration was growing. Karoline Leavitt knew this was the moment to make her final push. She leaned forward, her voice unwavering. The American people deserve leaders who work for them, not against them. House Republicans have acted responsibly. The ball is in the Senate's court. If they let this shutdown happen, it will be because they chose to. A few reporters exchanged glances. This wasn't just political maneuvering, it was a public challenge. She continued, they can fix this today, right now. But instead, they're dragging their feet, gambling with people's lives. The question is, will they do what's right? Or will they Let America pay the price for their inaction. Silence hung in the air. The statement had been made. The blame had been placed. Now, the nation waited to see if the Senate would act, or if Washington would once again come to a grinding halt. The clock was still ticking.